Hey, everybody. Well, I visited the new Guitar Center location in Atlanta today. They moved from where they had been for like years and years to a new location. I thought I'd give a little report on the new location and also some of my overall thoughts on Guitar Center. I hope you'll consider watching. Well, I went to the new Guitar Center today in Atlanta, and it was the first day they were open in their new location. Now, I think there are 5 different Guitar Centers in Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken. Plus, I think there's one in Macon, Athens. So I don't know about all the locations in Georgia, but if I'm not mistaken, there are 5 in the city of Atlanta or its environs. And I've been to all 5, but I think the main one and the sort of the original one was kind of on an access road, and it had gotten a little, I don't know, I feel like it had gotten a little dark and lonely out there where it was. It was still a nice store, and it was getting a little long in the tooth. So they'd been talking about moving, because I go in there maybe every couple weeks or once a month or something for something or another. And I knew they were moving, but today they moved to their new location, which, if you know Atlanta streets, is on Briarcliff Road. And it was actually, I think, a better location. I was a little leery. I thought, watch, this is corporate America, they're going to downgrade Guitar Center. But it was actually more in a kind of a bustling shopping center. And I think it was a better overall fit. Of course, the store inside is very nice. And, I think the other store was getting kind of that we've been here a long time feel. It was still, they still have good products in there and people, but this new store has a kind of new feel. And I think the old store is going to be incorporated into a nearby hospital as a facility for children, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, I went in there and it was nice. So I was a little bit encouraged, because when I heard they were moving, I thought, oh, watch, this is going to be another kind of downgrade of Guitar Center, but it was actually, I would say, an upgrade. So I am critical of corporate America and its influence on music. I'm as critical as probably anybody out there. And I do think the corporate structures have hurt Guitar Center, because I've been going there since before it was bought by Bain Capital. What was that, in 2006? And I can really, and I've heard other people say this too on other videos, I can almost see the change when Bain bought that in Guitar Center. But one thing I will say is this is a nice new location. And on driving home, I thought, well, it encourages me that it looks like they're trying to really keep their retail floor rooms up, because that is so important. And one thing about Guitar Center, you can be critical of it. I know a lot of people I see are critical of Guitar Center. You know what you can't beat with Guitar Center? They've got a selection right up there with, Reverb or Sweetwater. They've got the best used guitar market in the world. I sometimes wonder how they buy all those guitars. I mean, they buy practically any guitar. They get them if they buy them, they're buying them at like 60% of whatever price they will sell them at. So, you're selling it at a loss, but still they end up with a ton of guitars. If you look at that website, I sometimes wonder if they're ever going to sell all those. And that, I'm sure they'll sell the really nice Fenders and Gibsons and, some of the nicer guitars. But, it's an excellent used guitar market they have, or, site they have. If you look, it's just ridiculous. It must be thousands of guitars on there and pedals. But the one thing I think corporate America seems to be doing right with Guitar Center, among their many things that I could be critical of to the extent I know what's going on behind the scenes, is it seems like they're prioritizing that retail floor room experience. And I think that's so important, because that's the one thing I bought a couple nice things from Sweetwater. I bought a nice American Professional Telecaster from them a couple years ago. But, it came to my house. I actually had some trouble with FedEx. I did a video on that. I think UPS, which Guitar Center uses, I've had better experiences. That time I used FedEx, I was not a happy camper, and I don't consider myself a high-maintenance customer. But they told me the guitar was lost, and I drove down to the FedEx hub in Atlanta, and it was like going into a military complex, and they wanted me to fill out some insurance form and claim the guitar as lost or stolen and get my money back. which I almost thought was kind of fishy. And then a day or two later, it showed up at my house. I don't know, but anyway, um, I've always had more positive experiences with Guitar Center, if for no other the reason than if something goes wrong, I can walk into a store and talk to another human being and not just be on the phone. Not that those other places are bad. So, but it seemed like this new Guitar Center, they were really trying to keep this retail location up. They had a platinum room that was nice, so they've got the nice guitars. But I was kind of musing on the way home about the changes in Guitar Center, and I hope they don't discard all the things that made Guitar Center good. I remember the first few times I went there, this would be like 20 years ago. I think some of the first times I was ever there, I was in some guitar playing contests. They used to have these guitar playing contests. I never won, but I was in a couple of those, that King of the Blues contest. And one time, I'm pretty sure that Dave Onorato was there, who was one of the people on Rick Beato's channel sometimes, and he played a great entry, as it were. And I thought I held my own too. I didn't win. I don't remember who won, but I do remember I was a lot older than most of the people there. But anyway, it was really nice, and I remember the Guitar Center back then had like a showroom, and it wasn't just some nice kind of the upper end guitars in the store. They had some like really rare, nice guitars. I think they had one in there as kind of a display that must have been $100,000 guitar. It was in a glass case, a really nice Martin of some kind, and they used to have some kind of rare guitars in there. And I think they had a bigger selection. I was talking with another guy, and he had a YouTube channel too. So we ended up kind of exchanging YouTube information. But I was talking to him, and we both agreed they probably have fewer guitars than they used to. And I think they cater more to the middle and lower end, which is all right. And I noticed they're doing more lessons. So that's all good, I guess. But if you're like me, I always like to see the really, great guitars. And they still have some. They have a platinum room, but I came away pretty pleasantly surprised. They have a very nice new location. And there were even, I think, some looked like higher ups from Guitar Center over in the corner. Kind of, it was their first day there. They were giving everybody T-shirts, so I got one for me. It was the biggest one they had, and I'm pretty sure it won't fit me, but they gave me one for my wife as well. So they were giving away T-shirts because this was the first day. I guess that would be considered a grand opening, but they had some kind of Guitar Center higher ups over in the corner, kind of looking over the store. And I felt a little better about it because it seems like Guitar Center really wants to prioritize having really nice showrooms and retail outlets. And I'll tell you, that's the one thing that a lot of these online sites can't compete with. And people criticize Guitar Center, but if all that went away, we kind of take it for granted, But Guitar Center has pretty much the same selection as Sweetwater. I mean, you can get a top-notch Martin there, top-notch Fender, top-notch Gibson. I think they have pretty much all the brands. Sometimes I think Sweetwater might have a little more selection. I don't know if some brands have dropped out of Guitar Center, but basically they have all the main brands right up and down from the low end to the really excellent guitars. Their prices are always competitive. They have a ridiculous return policy. I sometimes wonder if their return policy is part of the reason you're always hearing about they're going bankrupt. I mean, you just take a guitar back, play it for 45 days, and then take it back, and they pretty much, which is great. That I think that gives people confidence to buy. But I don't know. It seems like if a lot of people abuse that, it could be a financial issue. I don't know. Maybe. But, but anyway, this new location, I thought it looked pretty good. And I took some pictures in there, and just looks like a nice, clean, nice new kind of consumer-friendly retail outlet. And, one other thing, I was in the parking lot, and the parking lot was kind of busy, and there were a bunch of stores, kind of busy stores. So it wasn't, before it was on this access road. And last couple times I was in there, one time I was buying a guitar and I didn't even really start buying it till like 8:58 and they close at 9. So the guy was in there kind of processing my purchase. There were some kind of complications with it. I don't even remember, but it took a while to kind of figure out what we were doing in there. So by the time I left the store, it was probably like quarter to 10 p.m. and the parking lot was all dark and there wasn't many people around. And I even thought, gee, I'm just out here by myself, and my car was kind of on the other end of the parking lot. And so that's always, and it wasn't very well lit. And so I actually think that's another good reason about this new location. It's in a kind of more bustling area where there's a lot more going on than just that kind of lone guitar center stuck out on an access road. I think maybe that was good 20 years ago or something. Times were different. Atlanta was different or whatever. The store was newer. But anyway, I do like the new location. I think it's good. And I'll always stick up for Guitar Center. I bought a little sticker. I bought some cords. I bought some speaker cords. I'm going to be needing to use my PA for some church things coming up. And I bought some speaker cords and a mic stand and some things like that I'll need. And I ended up buying a little Guitar Center sticker. Didn't even see what it cost, probably $1 or $2, but I tossed it in there with the cords and the mic stand, and I'm going to put it on my car. I'm very supportive of Guitar Center. I know they have issues, but they're trying to run all those retail outlets, and that's something a lot of these other places that people tend to shop at online don't have to worry about. But like I said, I feel like if we lost all those retail outlets, we'd be losing a lot. So I'm rooting for them. For one, I like the people in there, but for two, just that idea of being able to walk in a store. I buy a lot of things online or just, pick up the 1-800 number and call Guitar Center. But if I want to set up, I bought guitars that, when they came, I liked them, but I thought maybe they could be set up. I'll take them right up there to their techs. I've never had a tech that I didn't, trust my guitars to that I've known up there, and all that kind of thing. I think really improves the buying experience for Guitar Center customers. So I was glad to see they moved. I was a little leery about it, but their new location looks pretty good, and I did take some footage. Thanks. God bless.